Hey everyone, this is Tug. Welcome back to Indie Deep Dive, the show where we forcibly pull more meaning out of a game than there actually is. I know it sounds misleading, but it can really be fun, especially if you have the right game. And today we're going to be talking about Doghouse 2. This is a short indie kind of horror game. I mean, it's strange, it's got some creepy aspects, but I don't think it's supposed to be a horror game. It's actually pretty funny, but the question is there a hidden meaning behind the game? We'll talk about that when we get into things. Now, I didn't play the original Doghouse, but I'm making this video off the assumption that you don't have to, simply because the game is a recreation, not a sequel. At least that's just my excuse for being lazy. The premise is straightforward. It's in the name. Construct a doghouse. However, you aren't going to be building just any old run-of-the-mill doghouse. This is going to be the holy grail of doghouses, the best one you've ever made. No other doghouse in the world will compete with yours because you've made it your life goal to outdo everyone else and put the doghouse industry to shame. Home Depot employees bow down to you when you walk into their store. DIY is your middle name and Doghouse 2 is the game. Let's do it. Starting up the game, you're greeted with a flash of instructions. We're already getting creative with the names here. You load into your backyard, surrounded by these mismatched, wonky textures and a dreary atmosphere, but still the aesthetic somehow all fits together, except for the literal Minecraft tree that's standing right in front of you. To get started, you walk up to your dog, Leonard. Hey everyone, this is post-production Tug here. I confidently mispronounce Leonard as Leonard for the rest of the video, and I'm just giving you that warning up front. And I'm also asking for your forgiveness of my stupidity. Okay, enjoy. Oh Leonard, I'll build you a home soon. Why does he look so depressed? I put money down that dog's not even alive. He probably looks like that cause, well, first of all, you named him Leonard. To cheer up your dog, you decide to build him a lovely little home. Your tools are in the garage, so you have to go through the house. The bucket of mints I keep around. How to get away with doing nothing. A barricaded door? Yeah, I'd go so far as to say that Leonard isn't the only one depressed around here. As a little side gag, if you go over to the kitchen, become literal Garfield and munch on some lasagna, you black out and I guess you dream or you hallucinate this whole scene where Leonard does this stand-up at a comedy club and oh dear what's happened to him. There was definitely something in that lasagna. Thankfully that was just a dream and Leonard doesn't actually look like that. I keep this around for self-defense in the event of a lettuce attack. This guy is insane. So far, my favorite part about this game is personally the barricaded door. Better kept inside, especially after last time. Like, we get no context for what this means. There's just something completely unknown on the other side of the door that's scary or dangerous. It's probably that lettuce he's paranoid of. Imagine if it's just an empty room with a single head of lettuce sitting on the floor. I guess it's better for everyone if he just leaves it alone. Okay, so after you lose your dignity, you go to the garage and you finally grab your tools, and Leonard really puts the pressure on you by waiting outside the garage. You crank up the Home Depot intensity to 200% and you pull out the nails, the wood, the hammer, and alas, you've created it. The doghouse. Great job. You've won back your dignity and you put the neighboring dads to shame, and the game is over. Except it's not. You hear your oven beeping. You forgot to turn off the lasagna. Quick, get inside. And... what? Oh, okay. That darn faulty light switch. Okay, anyway, back to what we were doing. Oh no.
I'm sorry, John. John, I require lasagna.
That's not really what he says, but it's all I can imagine in this moment because of the existential dread it strikes in you. For some odd reason, you feel compelled to not stay in the kitchen anymore, and you instead go outside where Leonard hasn't transformed into some Lovecraftian horror, and you keep working on the doghouse. And that's how you tame the beast. You lure him outside into the doghouse, and you shut it with the metal door and lock that you apparently just crafted a second ago, and you successfully capture him. To clarify, if you want to get ending 1 of 5, you have to shut the door before Leonard walks outside, in which case he comes outside and you die. You also die if you walk up and you touch Leonard at any point during his eldritch horror form, because that's a good idea. You know it's a better idea? Trying to stab him with a butter knife. The way to actually beat Leonard here is to put on his favorite record and sickeningly force him to slave away dancing as he's unable to resist the groove. I need to get better at script writing. As he's unable to resist the groove. You go on to get the dancing ending where you guys win a dog dancing contest. Another fun ending is simply not going back inside when the oven beeps and watching your house burn to a crisp. You can also simply give up on life and lock yourself in the doghouse. And lastly, there's this secret ending you can find after jumping out of the backyard fence, walking up to this fine gentleman, inputting the code 1582, and then this happens. What? Alright, fun wacky endings aside, does this game mean anything? Did the developer try to incorporate any kind of meaning into the story? I think the answer is yes, but unintentionally. You see, if you step back and you look at the way the game plays, all it is just a short, bizarre game that's supposed to raise your eyebrows, it makes you chuckle at surreal humor, and it gives you some replayability with 5 different endings. All of those elements just happen to take place in the confines of this idea that you need to build a doghouse for your dog, or else he'll grow arms and try to kill you. Like, that's not symbolic, that means nothing. But if you look outside of the game in the scope of broader indie game culture, you could make a pretty good case that Doghouse 2 is simply a parody of the surrounding culture from its time period, with the absurdity cranked all the way up. Just look at this trend of sloppy, pixelated indie horror games with mismatched assets, linear stories, and little to no meaning. For some reason, people, YouTubers especially, eat that kind of stuff right up. Why? Because they're easy to play, they're easy to make videos about, and most of the time they're completely free to interact with. Whether it's intentional or not, Doghouse 2, I think, is a reflection of elements from those kinds of games. Instead, it's put together in a nice little package of humor, surrealness, secret endings, and all of it can be experienced in 5 minutes. There's a certain charm to games that you know are trying to be super creepy and unique and creative, but in the end they really aren't. It makes me think of those old school Roblox horror games that try really hard to scare you, but it's Roblox. Except here in Doghouse 2, it's almost like the game is self-aware, and it doesn't take itself seriously, which allows me personally to enjoy it a lot more. A lettuce attack, ABG cubes, the stupid room with some unknown backstory, all of these little things join together to form this lighthearted experience. Okay, believe me, the game is still strange and off-putting in some ways, but it's still very enjoyable, and I recommend you check it out if you have the spare time because honestly, it's really funny to play through. So if you do want to experience this for yourself, I have the link for it in the description below. Here on the channel, more episodes of Indie Deep Dive are coming soon, and just more videos in general. I post about upcoming content and schedule stuff in my community tab, so keep an eye on that. As for now, I will see you all again very soon. Goodbye.